Hi, you're face to face with Shell. I hope everyone is doing okay out there. I'm going to follow on from last week's video where I spoke about people with a visible difference having to wear a mask because of the COVID crisis and the anxiety that they may feel when they have to take it off once it's safe to do so. So it got me thinking about having the confidence or gaining the confidence to go out wearing your scars, or for that matter, any visible difference. In the early years, it was really difficult, and I used to get day release from hospital, and the first time I had a walk in my local village was just down one street and down to the main sort of place where the shops were. And I seen a few of my friends, and that was fine. They said hello, and the experience wasn't too bad at all because everyone in my village knew what had happened. It was quite a small village where I grew up, and everybody knew, and everyone was so supportive. They were absolutely amazing. The next thing I had to overcome was going out to the next town, which was obviously a lot larger than where I had grown up. And I found that really difficult because it was larger and not everyone knew me. And I remember the first time I kept the hood of my jacket up over my head, and this was inside a shopping centre, and I just stared at the ground. I just didn't want to look at anyone, have eye contact with anyone. I didn't want to see their reactions towards me. And my mum and dad were on either side of me, protecting me, obviously because of what I was going through and because my burn injuries were still sore and they're still blistered, so they're protecting me that way as well. And I remember I needed new boots, and I wouldn't go into the shop until my mum and dad had made sure that there was no one else in there. And once there was no one else, I went in and I got the boots. And my mum explained to the sales assistant that this was my first time out in this town, and that she was so nice and so kind to me. It really made a big difference. So these are things that you're going to have to overcome if you're at the start of your burn journey, or if you have any form of visible difference. You'll maybe hear this saying, oh, it's just human nature to look. And yeah, okay, it is. But it's rude to look again, to look again, to look again. And maybe go around a shop another way so that this person can have another look at you. And then maybe to nudge their friends and say, oh, look at her. That's rude. And this is what I'm trying to bring awareness of. This behaviour it shouldn't be tolerated at all. This behaviour towards people with a visible difference, it needs to stop. Back when I was burned, I'm glad to say that things have improved since then, but things back then just weren't the same, and there wasn't enough awareness about people with visible differences and what they have to go through on a daily basis. And there certainly wasn't the help that is available now. By all means, there needs to be more help, yes, absolutely, but there wasn't the help back then that there is now. I remember my mum giving me a piece of advice, and she said, the more you go out, the more people will see you, and hopefully the easier it will get. Now, it didn't stop people staring or making comments, but it did build my confidence up, and I seen where my mum was coming from. The more I went out, the more I faced my fears, faced people, the easier it got. Now, I'm not saying that happened overnight, and I'm not saying it was easy, because it wasn't. There was days I just wanted to have one day where no one stared at me. So if you are at the start of your burn journey, I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy, because it isn't. Some days will be easier than others, but you just have to keep going. Safe in the knowledge that it does get better. Your scars will get better. You will get better. You will be able to cope with it better. And yeah, you will have down days, and there will be days when something's said or done and it will just hit you. I still get these days, not very often, but there are still some instances where things will catch you off guard, and you'll find that it does upset you, and it just can depend on the type of day that you've had, or maybe what's going on in your life at that moment. I also remember my mum saying that if she was trying to put into perspective about why people were staring at me. She says some people, it's just like, oh, because it's something different. I mean, back then, my scars is on my face, well, all over, but on my face were very red and very thick. So, people maybe weren't looking at me as such in the first instance, but it was just something like, whoa, what's that? My mum had said, think about it, if somebody sees maybe a big red balloon, they go, oh, what's that? And it's just something that catches your attention, and they maybe don't need to stare. I think back though, and I think, was my mum comparing my face to a big red balloon? I know she wasn't. It was just her way of trying to explain it and trying to help me through it. So at the start of my burn journey, 50% of my body was burned, scarred, was very red and very visible. So it got me thinking about people whose either scars or visible difference isn't that visible to others straight away. Maybe it's on their arms, so it's not noticeable until they maybe take a cardigan or a jumper off. And it got me thinking, is it harder for these people because, and maybe people are a bit indifferent to them, as if, oh well, it's okay because, you can't see it, so you're fine. But they still have anxieties about maybe taking off certain bits of clothing and having to show it. So do they have more anxiety than someone whose scars difference is on display all the time? I would say it was harder for me having my scars visible right at the very beginning, because it's to try and get used to that, to get used to how you look now, and to try and get used to the majority of people staring at you when you pass them, because that's basically what did happen at the beginning. So I'm not too sure. It just got me thinking, what do people go through that the difference isn't on show all the time? Do they have a bit more anxiety than, say, what I do now? Because my scars have got better, and because I've learned to cope with stares, questions, etc. Is my anxiety a bit less because of that? Because my scars were on show right at the beginning all the time, as opposed to someone whose difference isn't on show all the time. Just something to have a wee think about. Thank you so much for watching, and a massive shout out to my subscribers. And if you haven't already, it would be awesome if you did subscribe to the channel, and if you're doing so, don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any videos. It would also be amazing if you could give me a like and a share. I'm trying to get this message of hope out to as many people as possible, as many people that need it, that you're not alone. There are other people out there who have gone or are going through the same as you. And I just want to help as many people as I can. I do have a website, and it'd be awesome if you headed over there. You'll find lots more information, photographs, etc. And I'll put a link in the description to this video for the website. Thank you once again for watching. Stay safe, stay strong, and we'll chat soon. Bye.